Everyone has a drive for something. It could be sports, academics, or even art. Whatever it is, it's always inspiring to see someone in their moment. Today, I had the opportunity to see Emily Bartholomew's growth mindset sketched out on paper. I'm Amanda McKinney, and this is Hurricane in the Zone.
I really like to see my growth every year. The more projects I do, it's like every time I do a project, I find something different that I didn't know how to do before that I learn how to do, and it really helps me feel better about my artwork in general, because most artists aren't always happy with the outcome at the time. But then whenever you go back and look at a project after you've done a couple more and progressed, you go back and you realize how much you've grown. And that's probably my favorite thing that makes me feel the most passionate, is seeing my growth every year. It's like a growth in a long term where you don't see it in the moment, but it's like, no matter what I do, all of my pieces end up having so much detail that, like, I couldn't do a project where the whole point of it is to not have any detail at all, and somehow at the end it is still more detailed than what I ever wanted it to be. And I think it's just kind of become my style, whether I like it or not. I think that's how even in middle school, I'd have assignments where it had to be abstract and cartoon and stuff, and even then it was still ended up being detailed, which was okay, but it's just a constant, like, I can't even control it. It's a strange thing. I know my mom, like, doesn't even really have words sometimes. Like, it's hard for her to watch me do art because I get so stressed with every little detail, and she'll watch me and it, like, gives her anxiety. But at the end, like, the outcome, she's always really impressed, and so is my dad, because they don't really watch the process of it. They just see a blank piece of paper with some really weird sketches on it that don't make sense, and then they see the ending, which is completely different. And so they're usually very impressed, since they don't see the, like, progress through it. Recently, I've had a lot of family members pass, including one of my brothers, and I'm not a very talkative person whenever it comes to my feelings at all, in any way. I don't like it, but using art and dance has been a way for me to let everything go, so you don't keep it all inside. Because with artwork, you can lay it out on a piece of paper and it stays there. It's not the same as talking, because with art, you just leave it on the paper and you can express it however you want. It could be happy or sad or funny, like whatever it is, but you can let it out and you don't have to bring it back. So it's just a lot easier to express my feelings through the arts. My mom, a lot of times, I'll procrastinate on a project until the night before it's due, and I'll stay up all night from whenever I get home from school at around like 2:30 to the next morning at 5:15, whenever my alarm to wake up goes off, and my mom is there with me the whole time. And she'll sit there because I get so distracted. There's so many other things in my head, and I'll be like, oh, what's this over here? And I'll go and start something else, and then I forget about my art. So my mom is there with me, and she's always like, you gotta stay on track, you gotta stay with it. And she'll make sure that I stay up because I have to finish it, especially because it's usually a contest the next day that I don't manage my time very well, but she's always there with me and supports me to make sure I get it done every time. But the one that I show people the most is of Mr. Elbert, which isn't finished yet, but I think I'm the most proud of that one because of the detail, because that was my first time drawing a realistic face, and it went way better than I expected. And I think I'm just very, very proud of how it turned out. And anytime someone asks to see my artwork, that's the one I pull up on my phone. I'm like, here's this one. But I still have a whole second half to finish, so who knows if that one will still be my favorite whenever I finish it. But my other one that I like to show is most of my oil pastel pieces, because that was a new style I learned just this past year in AP Art that I had never done before, and I ended up really, really liking it, but I only have a few. And so those few pieces are my favorite, because I can show off the new style I've learned to do just this past year. What inspires me is that drive to just get better, and you can't stay stagnant in one spot. You have to keep on getting better and keep on practicing and finding new techniques. So it's probably what inspires me the most.